Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the first Friday luncheon for the month of September for your Defiance Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm Sarah Tackett, and I'm the Executive Director and CEO of this fine organization. It's a beautiful sunny day here in downtown Defiance, and we're certainly excited to have our speaker today with us to join us for the first Friday luncheon. Our topic today is government contracting and how one might be able to grow their business by partnering with the government through the PTAC program. Our speaker today is Kahn, and if you would, I'd like to introduce him. Kent has been involved in workforce economic development and job training for more than 30 years. From March of 17 through January of 19, he served as executive director at Rhodes State College for Workforce Economic Development and Continuing Education. In February of 19, he moved to the PTAC coordinator position and is now working full-time in that role. Kent was state director for more than 24 years at Experience Works in Ohio and Michigan, a national federally funded job training program for low-income older workers. For many years, he served on the 43-county Area 7 Workforce Investment Opportunity Act Board of Directors and was involved with the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals as a certified workforce development professional. With a degree in journalism from Ohio University, Kent is proud to make the Lima Allen County area home with his wife, Diane. They have 2 adult daughters, 3 grandchildren, and enjoy golf and cruising. And with that resume, Kent, you have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge to share with all of us today. I would like to ask those of us that are participants if we might close our turn off our cameras and mute our microphones as we give the floor to Kent. And then this program will also be available for viewing later via the Chamber website and social media. So Kent, if you will, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sarah, for that introduction. I think maybe I need to cut that down a little bit. But I appreciate people joining today on Friday before Labor Day. I'm sure it's a busy day for most. And looking forward to sharing information with all of you about government contracting and the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. The PTACs were created in 1985 by the U.S. Congress, and it's to help private business work through the maze of government contracting. And there's a lot of great opportunity out there. The federal government procures over $600 billion a year in goods and services from the private sector. The government doesn't manufacture anything, they don't distribute anything. Everything that they buy has to come from the private sector, and there's a great opportunity out there. And part of that, the government's goal is for 23% of that $600 billion to be spent with small business. About 23% of that $600 billion is around $128 billion. So I have a little prop here today that hopefully you can see. This is a stack of, this is a $500 bill you're looking at. Of course, it's play, and there's 1,000 of them. So that is 500,000. Well, that would take over 255,000 of these bundles of $500 bills to amount to that 128 billion. So I'm just trying to demonstrate to everybody how much money is available out there in government contracting. And that money is going somewhere, and we want it coming to Northwest and West Central Ohio. When that money does come to the area, it's helping build the economy. It's keeping businesses open. It's keeping people employed. It offers business the opportunity to hire more people. And when you have people working and bringing in that income, it has that whole domino effect of people buying homes, going to the grocery store, buying furniture, buying all kinds of goods and services from small business. So it can really be a benefit to small business. They can get a government contract to bring money into their community. And so the PTAC was created to help small businesses get those dollars into their local community. And so I want to go ahead and share my PowerPoint presentation with you this afternoon. And we'll try to blow it up here. And hopefully everybody is seeing growing your business with government contracts and the Defiance Area Chamber of Commerce First Friday Lunch.
Yes.
All right, great. So federal contracting, as I talked about, there is a huge market. Right here we have 559 billion. It's probably over 600 billion now. And especially with going through the COVID pandemic, the government has really expanded what it's purchasing in the way of personal protection equipment and other items related to COVID-19. And of course, they're buying it. It has to come from the private sector because the government does not do any of that. As I mentioned, 23% of that 559 billion equals 128 billion, more than that, that's available for small business. The government is really a good customer. They are another tool in your toolbox. You can't rely on the government solely to keep your business operating, but they are a good customer that we really encourage businesses to take a look at. Once you do get a contract, there's an opportunity for repeat business, as you will see with a local employer in Defiance County. And as we said, bottom line is it's bringing lots of money to Northwest Ohio, which is helping to keep people employed and just has that domino trickle-down effect that can be very beneficial to your local community. As we say, the government spending that money out there, there's a lot of good quality companies in Defiance County and West Central Ohio and Northwest Ohio that can meet the needs of the government in supplying those goods and services. So that money is going somewhere. Why not here to West Central and Northwest Ohio? The PTAC is funded through the U.S. Department Defense Logistics Agency. It's also funded by the State of Ohio Development Service Agency, and Rhodes State College is the host. And they also put money into the program. And again, the idea with Rhodes, why they want to do it, is because they believe in the community and the opportunity for small businesses to grow. In 2019, PTAC clients received over almost $1 billion in government contracts and subcontracts, which are in the blue. And there was almost $100 million in state and local contracts that PTAC clients received in contracts from state, county, and local government. So there's a lot of money out there that is being brought into Ohio because PTAC has helped those companies through the government contracting opportunities. So what does the government buy? Well, they buy a lot. It can start with recreational equipment, office supplies, laboratory equipment, medical and dental and veterinarian supplies, electrical components, construction and building materials, hand tools, plumbing and heating services. It includes for machine shops, bearings, tires and tubes, ship and marine equipment, guided missiles, ammunition, and weapons. And that's just, that's just a little bit, tip of the iceberg of what they buy. They're also buying services too when it comes consulting services, management services, janitorial services that we'll see here shortly. So when you get into government contract, what you really want to do is what do you do best? Identify what are the things, the best things that you do that you can sell to the government. And is your commercial market strong? If you've been successful with your commercial market, you can definitely be successful with the government market. Also, you have to have adequate financial resources because you have to have the capital up front to manufacture the product or buy the product and then have the government sell it. And so then the government buys it from you and will reimburse you. And are you willing to make the investment? It's not only do you have the money, but it's the investment of time. Because it really takes 4 to 6 hours a week to really get started, to understand government contracting, get your foot in the door, and how you can best focus your efforts on landing a contract. So again, here's an example, just the amounts of money that the government is buying. This is a little bit dated back from 2014, but it really holds true today. What are they buying the most of? Knowledge-based services, which really include like engineering and program services, management support services, administrative services, education and training. And then you can see down the line here, it's a little blurred, but just what they're buying in various areas. Technology services, 34.5 billion, medical services, 16.6 billion, 6.2 billion worth of food, vehicles, and all kinds of different things that they're buying. From large companies like Lockheed Martin and Boeing and others like that to really small mom and pop businesses. Who are the agencies that are buying the most? Well, the Navy, they like to buy. They're big spenders. The Army, the Air Force, the Department of Defense, the Defense Logistics Agency, which provides the warfighter with everything from staples to paper clips to food to things that go into their housing and barracks to weaponry and everything in between. The Energy Department is buying a lot. The Veterans Administration, Health and Human Services, NASA is a great buyer from the private sector. I always like what John Glenn said when he was sitting on Friendship 7, that he was a little nervous sitting on a space rocket built by the lowest bidder. But I think it turned out pretty well. And then Homeland Security is also spending or buying quite a bit of goods and services from the private sector. So here is some of the largest areas that they're spending again. Aircraft manufacturing, over 50 billion. Engineering services, over 39 billion. And I really like to point out the facility support services, because again, that's really going to be your smaller companies. So there's a lot of great opportunity out there to get contracts. As it says here, janitorial, maintenance, trash disposal, mail routing, laundry, and all those types of things. So there really are a lot of good opportunities for very small businesses, and small business is anything from 1 up to 499. On the left-hand side, you'll see what we have is NAICS, N-A-I-C-S. Those are your North American Industry Classification System codes, and that is how the government, they use those 6-digit codes to identify the type of work that your company does. We do use those NAICS codes to try and identify appropriate contracting opportunities for you. They can be very broad, so we also work with your company to narrow that down. So hopefully you're getting specific, relevant bids that meet your company's capabilities. Here's some examples of some additional companies throughout Northwest Ohio that have gotten government contracts over the past few years. R.J. Runge in Port Clinton, 5.7 million. Castle Hill Associates, Control Industries in Findlay, so there's Buckeye Rubber Products in Lima are all companies that are getting government contracts in Northwest Ohio. More specifically, in Defiance County, and I think this is I didn't change it here, I believe this is 2018. There were 5 companies in Defiance County that got government contracts. And one of the companies getting larger contracts is Credit Adjustments, Inc. in Defiance. And they're involved in collecting debt on student loans. And it's a big pot of money. You'll see them in again, this is 2018. We'll see 2019 and 2020. But I did a little research, and it's interesting. There's over $1.49 trillion in delinquent federal student loans. So you see that Credit Adjustments is getting a lot of money to try to work with people to get those loans repaid. But when you compare it to what's outstanding in federal student loan debt, it's really kind of just a drop in the bucket. This company, Brian Womer, you'll see his name a couple of times. You've got contract from Social Security, and all this is public information that people could dig and look at it and see. So I'm not sharing any trade secrets here. These following three companies have gotten contracts from the Office of Comptroller of the Currency to do bank examination services. So just kind of example of companies in Defiance County that are getting government contracts. So it is doable. Here again, so this is 2019. Credit adjustments again, got a huge contract. Brian Womer again with Social Security. So as I said, a repeat customer. So once you get that government contract, there are more opportunities for you. And then you have CGB Properties, which got a contract to help refurbish the Social Security office. And then 2020, credit adjustments again, a great contract. I mean, that's just phenomenal. They've done that on their own, which really hats off to them. Brian Womer again, and then CGB Properties upgrading equipment again at the Social Security office in Defiance. When you get into government contracting, you really have to have the perseverance to do it. It doesn't happen overnight. Usually takes about a year to get your first contract, to really live and learn as you go through the process of government contracting. But as it says here, great works are performed not by strength, but by perseverance. And it also takes persistence, determination, and hard work. And for small businesses that really have just 1 or 2 or 3 employees, maybe up to 5, small businesses are just working with their commercial customers. They're working 6 days a week, probably 10 to 12 hours a day. And so if you went into government contracting, you're going to have to add to that day. And so you really, again, it's going to be that persistence, determination, and hard work. But it can really pay off in the long run, as you saw with some of those clients or some of those businesses actually in Defiance County and in the city of Defiance. So these are the services that PTAC can help you with. There are 2 websites, usaspending.gov and fpds.gov, that can help you identify the government agencies that are buying the products and services you sell. Because a lot of times it's really good to just focus on those agencies. So you know that if you work with those agencies, identify those agencies, look for those bid opportunities, there's a great opportunity to sell your goods and services to that company. We have the free bid matching service where, again, we identify your NAICS codes. We talk about the keywords that match the capabilities of your company. There are also federal supply codes and product service codes that really narrow it down further. So you're getting relevant, hopefully more specific bids that you can look at and meet the capabilities of your company. Because I don't want to be sending you 50 to 100 bids every day because it's just too overwhelming. And you'll just go, I just can't look at all these bids. So we try to get you about 15 to 20 bids a day at most that hopefully you can look at that are good opportunities for you. Again, we have, going back to those websites, opportunities to identify the prime and subcontractors. Subcontracting is a good way to get your foot in the door, identify a larger company who's already gotten a government contract. Maybe they can't fulfill all of it, and they're looking for companies to fit in, maybe in different areas or an area that they don't have expertise in. There are registrations that you need to complete in order to sell to the government: the System for Award Management, the Defense Internet Bid Board System. If you happen to be a woman-owned small business or a veteran-owned small business, there are registrations that you need to register for that we can help with. We'll work with you on developing marketing strategies, direct you to certain websites, and provide you with webinars that can help you market your goods and services to federal agencies, contracting officers, and prime contractors that you could work with as perhaps a subcontractor. For specific individuals, there are certain set-asides that you need to register for. For minorities, there is what's called the Small Business Administration 8A program. If you qualify for that, you can get sole source contracting, which eliminates, some of the bidding for contracting. If your company resides in an economically disadvantaged area, there is the hub zone. We'll get into that in just a little bit. If you're a veteran, there are set-asides and set-asides for women-owned small business. And Mark is on the call here from the Minority Business Assistance Center. So for minority business-owned businesses, there are the DBE and EDGE certifications and a couple others with the state that can help narrow the playing field and getting government contracts with the state of Ohio. We also help you understand solicitations and assist with the bid process. The clients are the subject matter experts when it comes to writing the proposal, but we can help pointing out certain sections of the proposal to make sure they're complete, and we're more than happy to review the proposal, the rough draft, before we submit it. And there's lots of training opportunities, workshops, webinars that are going on. We're having a webinar on September 16th to assist with cybersecurity and cybersecurity certification. And there are matchmaking events with the government coming up, and there'll be a lot of webinars available to businesses online. That's kind of what's really good that's happened. There's kind of a silver lining around this cloud that with the virtual, you don't have to leave your office or leave your home to really get educated and learn more about government contracting and other topics. Again, all our services are free. Required registrations. If your company doesn't have a DUNS number, which is required to register in the System for Award Management, we will help you with that. The System for Award Management, you must register in that in order to do business with the federal government, because of course you want to get paid. So registering with SAM is very important, and it's a little bit of an opportunity to promote your company. Within SAM, there is also the Small Business Administration Small Business Dynamic Database, and we want you to go ahead and complete that. And you need to market your company to contracting officers to make them aware that all your information is in that database, because they can go into that database and award contracts of up to $10,000 without going out for bid. So that's really a good thing, but they're not going to find you unless they know about you. Same thing with your commercial customers. How do your commercial customers know about you? It's word of mouth, it's marketing, it's maybe some advertising, flyers that you have out, handing out your business card. Same thing with the government. You just have to treat them and the people that you're in contact with similar to your commercial customers. There was a lot of good private sector companies out there that are in the business of consulting with companies to help them work through the government contracting process, but we recommend not paying for SAM. If you're smart enough to own your own business, you are smart enough and have the ability to register with the System for Award Management. If you have issues, we'll have a Zoom meeting with you and work through the process. Doug Durliot is on the call. He also works with me in PTAC, and we have clients around the state of Ohio. We work as a team. Many of them have been not many, but a couple of them have been contracting officers. They've been in the military. Others have been with the PTAC for more than 20 years. So if you have questions that we can't answer, they're a great resource for us, and we will definitely get you the answer and get back to you as soon as possible. Again, we offer the free bid matching service. Identify the key words, North American Industry Classification System codes, the product, service, and/or federal supply codes. We want to produce relevant bids that meet your company's capabilities, and on a daily basis, you will receive an email with those contracting opportunities. These are the different bid opportunities. Federal business opportunities, $25,000 or more, come through betas.sam.gov. When you get your email, they would be listed under the column of SAM. Again, that's for all contracts of $25,000 or more. There are contracts through the Defense Logistics Agency. Again, they sustain the warfighter. There are different DLAs located across the country. There's a huge depot in Columbus, which supplies the land and maritime goods and services for the warfighter around the country. We also provide bids from other federal agencies that are less than $25,000. If you're interested in international bids, the search engine searches for those. And again, local and non-federal, mostly state bids, is that search engine is searching over 3,300 non-federal sites, looking for state, county, and city opportunities for your company that's going to match your keywords. Kind of what the email you get on a daily basis will look like. So here, this company, Castle Hill Associates, located in Toledo. On June 15th, they got 14 bids that were $25,000 or more, 2 bids that were for $25,000 or less, or were most likely from the federal government. And then there were 7 non-federal, which were likely state and or county opportunities. So you just click in this line here and all 30 bid opportunities would come up, and you would see there's a column for keywords as to why you got that bid opportunity. Could be your NAICS code, could be a keyword, or could be a federal supply or service code. And we go through this with you in an initial counseling session, which we have with each of our clients. The different procurement methods of contracts or sealed bidding, open to all vendors, awarded to the lowest cost. You have your request for a proposal, where it's an evaluation. You're most likely going to have to submit a narrative and a budget and other things when you submit that proposal. There are the micro purchases through the dynamic small business search. And then there's also what's called the General Service Administration multiple award schedule. It's kind of like an eBay or Amazon, where you can just post your goods and services on a website, and the government can buy directly off that website. But before you go through the process of getting on a GSA schedule, you want to make sure that the companies, or the government agencies that are interested in buying your goods and or services, buy them off a GSA schedule, because it is a kind of a timely process to go through. And the other thing, once you get on a GSA schedule, you have to sell $25,000 of your goods and services on an annual basis to remain on that schedule. Again, there are a lot of good private sector companies out there that will charge you with their help to get on a GSA schedule. But if you identify that as you believe that's a good avenue for you to sell your goods and services, please give the PTAC a call, because we have a colleague who is well versed in GSA and can help you through that process. So we're here to try and put your tax dollars to good use. These are the set-asides we talked about. Out of that 23%, that 128 plus billion, the government has a goal of 11.5 billion going to companies that have been certified as 8A disadvantaged. 3% of that 128 billion going to a company in a hub zone. You can go to the hub zone map and see if your company is located in an economically disadvantaged area. If it is, then 35% of your employees must also be living in a hub zone, but not necessarily the hub zone where your company is located. 5% of that 128 billion, the government wants going to women-owned small businesses that used to be a self-certified, but now it is a third-party certified, but you can still go through the Small Business Administration at no cost. And then the government wants 3% of that 128 billion going to veteran-owned and service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. And what those set-asides do is really narrow the playing field. So if your contract comes out solely for a women-owned small business, you're only competing against women businesses in that industry that are owned by women, rather than all the businesses in that industry. So it may shrink it from, instead of competing against 20 companies, maybe you're only competing against 5 or 6. State of Ohio is another great customer that you can do business with. They're a little bit easier to do business with than the federal government. They don't have quite the federal acquisition regulations that the federal government has. And as a PTAC client, we'll provide you with a State of Ohio Procurement Supplier Handbook. And it's written on a 9th and 10th grade level. Here's a table of contents of what's included in that handbook, who buys from the state, how the state buys, how to participate in purchases, the payment process, a quick reference, and they also have acronyms included in that. So if you're getting into government contract, you definitely want to consider the state of Ohio as a possible customer. Of course, marketing is extremely important, and especially on the federal level, what federal government agencies are used to seeing, federal contracting officers, or what we call a capability statement. It's your one-page resume, it's your 30-second elevator speech, it's your opportunity to sell your company at a glance to federal government contracting officers. And we go through that with you and provide this template and examples of capability statements. What you want to provide on that capability statement are your core competencies, your key words, your past performance. Again, it's your resume. So even if you don't have any government contracts, you can certainly put down commercial customers who are really happy with your work. And so they want to be able to, just like when you hire somebody for your company, they want to be able to pick up the phone and call your references to make sure that you deliver outstanding performance. Differentiators. What differentiates your company from others that are similar or provide similar goods and or services? And then you really want to have your company data in there. How can you be contacted? Phone number, your email address, your website lends a lot of credibility, and your NAICS codes and other government set-asides you may register for. Do you accept credit cards? And what geographical areas are you willing to service? And so the capability statement is a very important piece of your marketing efforts. Said it's a conversation starter, your resume, your billboard. This is what government contracting officers are used to seeing. It may be part of a bid proposal. The government also issues what they call sources sought, or a pre-solicitation for small business. They want to know if there's a small business out there that can meet the needs of that government agency. So if you see a sources sought, it's really important that you respond to that. And again, it's kind of getting a leg up on your competition. It's getting your foot in the door with an opportunity for those contracting officers to become familiar with your company and see what services you can provide and in what manner you can do so. And again, the capability statement increases your visibility and sets you apart from your competitors. And we're happy to review your capability statement once you create a rough draft. What you do want to know is who your customer is, who buys your product, how they buy it, when they buy it. And those two websites, usaspending.gov and fpds.gov, are great websites to acquire that information. And we can share a webinar with you that can help you negotiate those websites. It's really important that you know the rules of government contracting, and that includes the federal acquisition regulations. They can be quite lengthy, but it's just good that you review them, certain sections. You're somewhat familiar with them, and you know where you can go to reference them if you need to. And you want to know about the contract history. So the government's going out for bid, who previously has provided those goods and services to the government. You want to perform as promised, under promise and over deliver. You want to have great on-time delivery, a high quality, and a really good competitive price. As I said, there are these business matchmakers. Previously, they had been in person. There was one in Cleveland and one in Dayton. I know both of these are coming up soon. They will be virtual events. We'll be making PTAC clients aware of them, and it's a 15-minute opportunity to meet one-on-one with a federal government agency and or a prime contractor to give them your capability statement and make them aware of your company and about the goods and services that you can provide to their agency. If you're interested in becoming a PTAC client, if you're not one already, you can go to our website at ptac.rhodestate.edu, click on the client registration, fill out the form as best as possible, click submit. Doug or myself will then follow up with you to arrange a virtual Zoom meeting, and we'll do initial counseling session. and hopefully provide you with everything that you need to know about government contracting. And we will provide you with a lot of information to get you going in government contracting. So that's the information about government contracting, and hopefully I can stop my share here. And I think we have. And if there are any questions, Sarah, I'll be happy to try and answer them.
Great, that's a lot of valuable information, Kent. If our participants would like to restart their cameras and perhaps unmute, Kent is willing to entertain our questions.
Hey, Ken, just to sort of set expectations, for a person who's just getting registered into PTAC and just getting started in procuring contracts, what's the typical wait time between when they get in the system and when they can get awarded a new contract?
Well, usually it takes quite a bit of time, because what you really want to do is educate yourself about various aspects of government contracting. And it really is going to depend on how much time you can devote to government contracting. It can be up to a year, but if you have the time to devote to it, and there could be bids that come along that really meet your capabilities and what you are able to provide the government, it could just take a few months in order to do that. So you really get out of it what you put into it.
Kent, do these tend to be annual contracts? You talked about businesses securing in 18 and then they got a contract again in 19. So are these typically 12 month by the calendar year or 12 month, or does it vary really based on the contract itself?
I think it's pretty much like snowflakes. They can all be different. Some contracts are a year. They also have indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contracts that may last 1 to 5 years, where they identify several companies that can provide services. And then when the opportunity comes up that they need those services provided, they can go to their list of vendors and see who can provide the service at the least cost in the quickest amount of time. So, there's so many different government agencies out there that are putting out contracts. It's based, I believe most of them are going to be at least on a yearly basis. So you're not going to be more often than that. So some contracts could be for 2 or 3 years. Some contracts could be for 1. Some could be for 5.
There may be some folks wondering, and perhaps they're among the audience that will watch this session on delay later. You shared a lot of very, very good information. It does sound kind of complex. There may be some folks that are like, oh gosh, I don't know if I want to get involved with the government, because are they going to know too much about me and my business for me to be comfortable with? Can you sort of put their fears or alleviate their fears a little bit?
Well, like I said, government contracting is a great opportunity. It's kind of interesting when commercial business is going really well. Companies usually aren't too interested a lot of times in government contracting, but when business falls off, the government can be a really good customer and can help boost their business. Now, while I don't want to cover it up, government contracting is not easy, but with the help of the PTAC and others like Mark, who is on the line, we make government contracting easier. And the government, if you have a contract, yes, they may, when the contract is completed, there may be a small audit, that type of thing, but they're really not going to be intrusive as you're going along through the process. And so we're there to work with you to, I hate to say hold your hand, because we're really not doing that, but we're really providing the information that companies need to make themselves more knowledgeable and work through the process. And so, as you can see, there are companies that are small and larger that still qualify as small businesses that are getting government contracts. And so like I said, what we try to do is get through all the complexities of government contract, lay it out on more simple, easy terms that everybody can understand. One of the things that gets me with government contracting is all the acronyms. They drive me crazy. And so one thing we try to do is provide them with information on how to identify the acronyms. And a lot of times just Google the acronym and you can find it. But those are the small things that really matter to me when you're trying to decipher what you're looking at from the government. And if they have issues as a PTAC client, we're there to answer their questions.
All right. Do any of our attendees have any other questions for Kent today? No, seeing none, seeing some thumbs up. Kent, I see your phone number for your office here in your email signature might be a good one for us to share at that time. What's the best number for folks to call you? Well,
my cell phone works great, or the office, because the calls get forwarded to me. My cell phone number for work is 419-860-4032. My email address is Kahn, KAHN.K@rhodesstate.edu. And we have the work number 419-995-8283, and those calls get forwarded to me as well. You can also just go to the Rhodes State website, and under workforce development, innovation, you can click on that and it will take you to the PTAC website. We're going to be updating our website hopefully very soon. They are in the process of doing that. And we're going to have different webinars that people can click on to get educated. There's websites about subcontracting. So there's a lot of good information out there. And that's the thing about being a PTAC client. We get you in touch with all these different webinars, and you can download them. Again, they're at no cost. You can review them at your own pace, and it's great information out there. There's a lot of information out there. It's a big elephant. You just want to take it one bite at a time, one small bite, and eventually you'll digest it and get the hang of it. A lot of people have it. A lot of that money is going to the private sector. It's being spent somewhere. So let's spend it in Northwest Ohio. Absolutely. And that will help businesses and families all throughout our area. We certainly want to thank Kent Kahn for being with us and being our speaker today. Again, Kent is from the Procurement and Technical Assistance Center. They're based at Rhodes State College. A lot of information shared today. I encourage all of our area businesses to take a look at this information. If you've listened today, share it with a friend. This will be available on the Chamber website and through our social media, because we would love to have all of our businesses in the area at least be aware of these opportunities, because it can be a real blessing to our local economy. We absolutely can. Kent, thank you so much. To our participants today for joining us, thank you all, and we wish you all the best. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Have a great Labor Day. Thank you. Thank you.